Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Respected listeners, we have a very big announcement for you, and that is that PTE is about to be accepted in Canada. We are making video in June somewhere, and from 15th of August, the government of Canada has announced it that the SDS program, specifically Student Direct Stream, now is supposed to start accepting PTE from 15th of August. Ms. Farwa is super excited on that because she is our main lead on PTE, and I would be more into the IELTS part. And in this video, we'll try to draw a comparison and a logical conclusion based upon an argument, and you can better decide for yourself. And you can tell us as well in the comments that whether you want to go with PTE or IELTS, choice is yours. But let us tell you how IELTS is better than PTE or how PTE is better than IELTS. You can better decide later. Right. Ms. Farwa, over to you. Why would you say that PTE is better?
I think the best part about PTE is that most of the skills are integrated. We do have modes of our own, like speaking, writing, listening, and reading, but it's not completely secluded like it is in IELTS.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, we already know through experience that a lot of the students they score less in one of the modules and they have to retake the test, right? So that is a common issue that a lot of our students face.
And when you said retake the test, actually they have to retake the whole test,
right?
And they don't have one module retake option, as I made one video on that too. So they are still piloting the program. So IELTS or PTE, both by the way, they don't give you an option of retaking one of the modules as OET offers you if you're a doctor or maybe from any paramedic background. So you can appear in one module retake that is on OET.
Yeah.
Right. So you said that it is AI based?
Yes, so the checking is AI based.
Oh yeah.
Like the difference between IELTS and PTE here is that even in the computer-based tests in IELTS, your writing test and your interview, the speaking section, it's done by a person, right?
Oh, yeah.
So quality of your argument and all those things really matter. So if you're not able to justify that argument, you won't get any scores for that. We already have this criteria of task achievement. You have to achieve that task, you have to justify that with examples. But in PTE, it's more like AI checked in a way that when you're writing a document on MS Word, the most important thing is your spelling, your grammar, and your punctuation. And those are the things that you have to work on instead of the argument, the quality of your argument. So
you see, over here, sorry to cut you, ma'am. Actually, I guess IELTS is also good for those who are okay with the friendly contact with a human being.
Right.
But in PTE, that is not the case. You are being just checked and observed and taken care by the machine throughout. So don't you think it looks a little awkward that you're not interacting with a human, but a machine?
Sir, there's this thing, some people are like very extroverted like you, others the moment somebody else speaks, we lose our train of thought. So isn't it better to have your own cabin where you're just sitting and you're taking the test? Isn't it better to just sit in a booth and
By the way, the reports tell that there are less extroverts people as compared with, I was about to say extraordinary. So extroverts people than introverts. Okay, so you mean to say PTE would be more better for those who don't want to be exposed in front of any other human beings. They're comfortable in front of screen. Is that what you mean?
Kind of, I would say so.
Okay, one point given to you. Now let me know, how about the other part? For example, you see once in IELTS, we do the paper reading.
Right.
And people of my age and my age group,
right,
they're more happy reading from the pages and paper. And they get that, the smell of the paper, That thing is missing in PTE. How would you talk about that? How would you encompass this?
Yeah, so about that, I would say IELTS takes the lead over there. IELTS is better in that regard. But in our institution and in most of the cases, you don't directly jump on the train to take PTE, right?
Yeah.
In most of the institutions, especially in GSL, we train them to work on the computer as well. There's a lab here, and we also kind of help them take this typing test where they can improve their speed.
Of course.
But then again, there are people who are older and they're going there for immigration and stuff, and they don't really prefer that. So it's kind of like a so-so situation. It works, and sometimes it doesn't. So
Yeah.
we just have to deal with that.
Yeah, yeah. I also read it somewhere that IELTS is more acceptable in Australia, of course, and it's
Yeah.
a part of Australia, and then UK and in
Right.
New Zealand as well.
Right.
And now Canada has started accepting it,
Yes, the
and
PTE,
US as
sorry.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
The PTE part. But IELTS is worldwide acceptable. For
Yeah.
example, you have other places, the Schengen zone, the Western Europe,
Yeah.
be it Italy, Norway, Germany, or
Right.
anywhere. So, what would you say on that? Don't you think that it has its limited acceptance so far, as far as PT is concerned?
Like that's kind of a fact at this point, that it is limited. It doesn't work everywhere. But at the same time, as an instructor, I do feel like with time it will get much better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
because
is
it's
getting better
easier,
already.
yeah.
You see, previously it was in Australia only, but now it's in UK.
Yeah.
That's a hard product now. And by the way, PTE also gives you an opportunity to take online test.
Right. PT.
PTE. It means
yeah.
that you can take home-based PTE, though it has limited acceptance, but it gives you that part. But IELTS does not do so.
Right.
There, I guess PTE is again only.
Right,
It seems like I'm more supporting in PT and you're more supporting IELTS. But actually, we are trying to tell you the facts. All right. So, in this particular podcast, or what you say, an episode, we are trying to give you hands-on experiences on that, so you can better compare.
Right.
Ma'am. So one point we just concluded that PTE does not give you an opportunity to read and write through a paper and on a paper, right?
Right.
So that is not the case. IELTS also go by computer delivered. So how it is different? PTE is also on computer. IELTS is also giving you an opportunity to go by
Right,
computer. So how do you think they both are different?
So the difference between both of them is that a PTE has integrated skills,
Okay.
right? So it's not like you'll have an hour for reading like you do in IELTS, or just a half an hour for listening. Over there, you have questions like read aloud, where two of the skills are being assessed at the same time. You're reading and you're speaking at the same time, right? So it's divided into particular questions.
Yeah.
Each mode is divided into particular questions. And the thing with that is that most of the time when you're getting 20 marks out of one, because of one question, you're getting 10 for one module and 10 for the other module, right?
Yeah.
So there's a balance over there. But in IELTS, if you miss the questions, for instance, somebody only was able to solve 30 questions out of 40, they'll lose all the score from their one single module. But over there, even if you make mistakes, sometimes you do run out of time, you'll still have the chance to get those scores back in the next module. So there's more balance.
IELTS go by bands, right? So
Right.
do you have the same equivalency in PTE, or how PTE is assessed in
so
short?
in PTE, about 90% of the questions do have integrated skills,
Okay.
right? And they have their own scores. Some are as big as 15 points. Some are as like they don't have a lot of score. It's like just one score, right? And the cumulative scores are 360
All
and
right.
90, 90, 90 for each module. Just like in
Okay.
IELTS, you have
Yeah.
9 bands for all of the modules.
Then the
right?
medium or
Yeah.
mode is
Then we take
somehow
the
taken,
average.
yeah, average.
But the thing is, it's not like if you get 90, then you'll get 9 bands. When we talk about equivalency, it's a bit different. I wrote it down because I tend to forget.
Yeah.
So bands 5. For 5 bands, you need about 41 points
All
out of
right.
90.
Okay.
So that is relatively much better.
That's quite
right?
low, quite
Yeah,
low.
and 7 for 7
41.
you need about 67 points.
All
So
right.
it's relatively easier to get those
So
scores.
PTE is also valid for 2 years like IELTS, or no?
Yes. After that, it expires.
It is. All right, okay. So how, since you had been training people on PTE for longer and you had been training at different particular institutions, so how would you say that GSL is somehow training the people better, because your results are mostly 70 plus, which I have observed, and at least 65 plus of students are getting the required.
Right.
So what major changes do you think can you feel here so that the students are getting good scores at GSL I8 branch?
Yeah, so talking about this branch, I would say that we've put in a lot of effort for PT, and
Okay.
we're trying to develop it as a department. And we actually kind of have a separate classroom for these classes where we conduct these classes, and afterwards, right after that lecture ends, the students directly go to the lab, which is connected right there with the class.
yeah.
They go there and they can practice there as long as they want to, and that area is limited to those students. They have their
Yeah.
mics, they keep practicing. And the thing with PTE is that you have to practice. I mean,
Yeah.
I can help you as an instructor.
Yeah.
In IELTS, you have to give them continuous feedback. You have to tell them this is wrong, this is incorrect. You have to do
Right.
that. But in PTE, in 60% of the effort is supposed to be put by the student, and it's
Yeah.
all practice.
I guess
And we
there
help
comes
them a lot.
the part that which particular websites are they working on.
Right.
For example, at our institute here, we also provide some international subscriptions that is
Yes.
part of the package, right? And our own LMS system, which is developed in a way that it is also AI based, like AP
Right.
Uni or Language Academy or
Academy.
Alpha or something. So that is something plus with that. And besides that, we don't bound the student to just come here for 1.5 hours and leave.
Right.
What we do is the students, they keep sitting for longer. They like the air conditioned classrooms we have, and then they just continue in the blazing summer. They're still comfortable in the classrooms, I guess. So that's pretty much about GSL and IELTS and PTE. If you have questions, concerns, do let us know. We'll try coming live someday on our YouTube so that you could ask some direct questions from us too. God bless you all. God bless you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.